Silence is golden. Meditation matters. By Angelo. Chapter 12. Practice the practice. Quote, "The more I practice, the luckier I get." Close quote. That's by Gary Player. This amusing quote by Gary Player contains an important message. When a professional golfer holes a bunker shot at a key moment in a tournament, it certainly seems to be a lucky break. However, such perception overlooks the thousands of hours of dedicated practice that has been invested in the skill. This is true in all walks of life, and especially in the fields of elite sport and performing arts. What seems to be effortless skill and talent is almost always the result of dedicated practice over a long period of time. When emphasizing the importance of practice in meditation, I like to use the metaphor of learning to play the piano. The idea that a novice pianist could sit down and sight read a Mozart piano sonata is obviously ridiculous. Learning would begin by practicing musical scales, developing hand-eye coordination, using one hand, then two, then both together, understanding written music, repeating simple pieces, and so on. It would take years of practice before we would be able to effortlessly read music and play the notes with the correct rhythm and expression. We know that this is true. We accept that if we want to master a skill, then we need to practice and to keep on practicing. Well, meditation is a skill that requires practice. It's simply not reasonable to expect that we can sit down and experience sustainable results after just a few sessions. Many people give up on meditation too soon because they feel that they are not getting anywhere. If only we knew how powerfully transformative the practice could become, we would not give up so easily. Expecting a quick result is futile. Slow and steady wins the race. We need to adopt the attitude of the tortoise rather than the hare. I have outlined 7 seemingly different disciplines that constitute the overall practice of meditation. There are many variations on all of it, but these 7 areas form a sound basis for an ongoing integrated practice. It may seem that this will all take too much time and is therefore not feasible. I would suggest that an individual integrated practice can be developed which will fit into any lifestyle, however busy that may be. Just as with the piano, it will be challenging to begin with, and we may feel that we are never going to reach competence. Persistence is the key, and it will gradually become more natural and effortless. It may seem that we have many other priorities, but the wisdom that I have shared clearly shows that meditation should be our absolute top priority. Indeed, the experience of every other aspect of our lives will be coloured by our vibrational state of being. Meditation is not only a recommended practice, but it also makes complete sense. In truth, there's nothing more important. One way to illustrate how these 7 disciplines can be integrated into a single daily practice is to describe my own particular approach. This is not necessarily a recommended practice for anyone else, but simply an example of how it all fits together. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is my early TM practice. This is followed by prayers of surrender and thanksgiving, and then a quick exercise routine that includes yoga postures and pranayama. Before breakfast, I say a prayer of gratitude for the food provided. During breakfast, I read a series of daily readings provided by various WhatsApp groups and email feeds. Throughout the day, I try to practice mindfulness in each activity and to stay present. I also frequently remind myself who I am being in any given moment. It's so easy to forget, so this discipline is unnatural to begin with, but gradually becomes habitual. I attend 3 regular local fellowship groups each week, where I do service of some kind. On the other days, I spend time one-on-one helping others to progress in their practice. This means that I am in Sangha in one form or another every day. I receive daily videos from various spiritual teachers that I watch. I occasionally listen to brainwave entrainment soundtracks, although this is not a daily thing. I always have a spiritual book on the go and try to read a few pages each day. Although retired now, I provide pro bono accounting and business administration services to a range of companies owned by friends. This helps me to feel useful. I do not have any exposure to local or international news, nor do I engage in social media, other than to post free videos of the chapters from my books. I am blissfully unaware of what is happening in the world. Before an evening meal, I do a second session of TM. Prior to eating, I again say a prayer of gratitude for the ready availability of food. Before bed, I say prayers of surrender and thanksgiving. Once in bed, I run through a mental review of the day, which includes acknowledgement of mistakes made, as well as gratitude for daily happenings and also the people and circumstances in my life. My final thoughts before nodding off are of self-contemplation. I sleep very well. So in summary and time order, I practice TM, prayer, Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, mindfulness, self-contemplation, Sangha, Karma Yoga, brainwave entrainment, vibrational harmony, and Bhakti Yoga. And none of this is a chore. There are 16 waking hours in each day. The combination of TM, prayer, and Hatha Yoga takes just 1 hour. I spend an average of 2 or 3 hours per day in Sangha and Karma Yoga. So say 4 hours per day in dedicated practice, which is just 1/4 of the time available. The rest of the time is mainly infused with mindfulness and self-contemplation, regardless of specific activity. This is what I consider to be an integrated meditation practice, which allows plenty of time for living a life. The more I practice all of this, the more natural and effortless it becomes. I can sight read my way through life without thinking about it. Such is the power and benefit of giving priority to meditation practice. Seeking to merge our beingness into consciousness is countercultural, particularly in the West. We've been indoctrinated and educated into believing that we are separate personal body-minds. This conditioning is so strongly held in our psyche that it seems impossible to shift. Many of us have an inkling that something is missing, and we set out on a particular spiritual path. We join a religion or other sangha, study specific doctrine, follow one or more well-known teachers and engage in recommended practices. Some of us wear spiritual clothing, brandish spiritual jewelry, tattoo our bodies with spiritual symbols and generally identify as spiritual people. We become spiritual waves, seeking higher knowledge and experience, but holding on to our wave identity. The one thing that we don't do is surrender completely. We surrender up to a point and are willing to experiment with our identity, but somehow we can't fully let go. We morph from one identity to another without realizing that by becoming a different and more spiritual type of wave, we simply stay stuck on the surface. The mind creates countless different ways to hold on to its self-believed existence, and all of them hold us back. The only way to dislodge this Velcro-like conditioning is through persistent, diligent, disciplined meditation practice. The wave will remain identified as a wave until it finally realizes that it actually is the ocean. Once the identity as the ocean becomes established, then the idea of ever having been just a wave is increasingly seen as absurd. The wave continues on its journey whilst the ocean remains undisturbed and blissful. Luck doesn't really come into the equation. As Gary Player and countless others will attest, it's all about practicing the practice. If we want to feel lucky, then we need to put in the work. Once a spiritual awakening takes hold, then we will experience a feeling of good fortune like no other. The longer and more diligently we practice meditation, the luckier we will become.